Wonderful Earthling, welcome on board. Thanks for clicking. Before we proceed, listen to this. He performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. That is from the Guide of Life, the Bible, Job chapter 5, verse 9. Well, child of God, some people believe or claim that the words in this book could not really be meaningful, and that maybe the creator that is mentioned in this book could not be as you think he is. Maybe he could be the evil one. In this first video, my friend, we hear Good Vibes Earthling leave his comments about what he thinks about some verses from the Book of Wisdom. I'd like to hear your opinion on it, my friend, as you continue. Then we shall hear what modern age scientists think about these aliens and the disclosure going on around. All these are in this video, together with other interesting stuff. Make sure you watch till the end and hit that like button. Before we proceed also, let's give thanks for life to the Creator and take a look at this. Father, we give you glory for this wonderful day, for love, Father, for joy, Father, for your precious soul, today's viewer. Thank you even for directing them here, Father. We uplift your name. May you give us a wonderful experience together, Father, and bless this viewer through this video. In your holy name, Jesus Christ, we give thanks for everything. Amen. Buckle up, my friend, and let's dive in.
God commanded a man to be killed for picking up sticks. That's not an exaggeration. It's Numbers 15 in the Old Testament. The text says, Israel found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath. And they bring him to Moses and Aaron and the whole community because they don't know what to do with him for picking up sticks. Then God tells Moses that the man must die and the whole congregation must stone him outside the camp. God says this. Now, I preached the Bible for more than 20 years, and I know the explanation. It was the Sabbath. It mattered. It was a rule from God. Israel lived under the covenant law. Obedience held the community together, so the man broke a command that God had already made clear. I get the explanation. I taught the explanation. But the moral problem never goes away. The text doesn't say he murdered anyone. He doesn't say he abused anyone. It doesn't say he harmed a child or attacked a neighbor or exploited the poor. It says he gathered sticks on the wrong day, and God commanded the community to stone him. God doesn't even do it directly. He orders all the men to stone the guy to death. When I lived inside Christian faith, I felt the pressure to make that sound righteous. I had to call it holy because the Bible put it in God's mouth. I can't do that anymore. If this story were in any other religion, I would have called it barbaric. Christians would call it barbaric right now. But because it was in the Bible, I was taught to call it holy. No more.
Oh man, I'm very sorry for you, brother, if that's what you understood. On this one, what I can only say is sometimes little knowledge is truly dangerous. Speaking about knowledge, let's hear what the knowledgeable folks of this age are saying about aliens.
Welcome to A Scientist and Two Engineers Take a Walk. I'm Les Johnson, the physicist.
Jim Bell, nuclear engineer.
Ken Roy. Today we're talking about the Fermi paradox. Why haven't we made contact with alien life? I'll start us out by saying I think that we are too far away in both distance and time, and it's not likely that there's a civilization out there overlapping with ours that's anywhere close. How about you, Ken?
I think the answer is a little bit more subtle. I think we're in a simulation. We're not in reality zero, and whoever's running the simulation doesn't need us to run into aliens just now.
Well, I'm going to go with biology. I believe that one of the best candidates for the great filter that's causing the difference is the fact that only once in the history of evolution on our planet did two cells merge to become one animal, and that's where the mitochondria come from. That's only happened once in evolution, unlike wings and talons and eyes, which have happened multiple times.
So there you have it. We appear to be alone, but are we? This has been an episode of A Scientist and Two Engineers Take a Walk.
Man, thank you to those Good Vibes grandparents. Lots of information there.
Parents are being warned not to post photos of their children online in case they are used to create AI-generated sexual abuse material. The National Crime Agency and the Internet Watch Foundation say the threat is growing, with more than 8,000 AI-generated child abuse images and videos identified last year. They said parents should check their privacy settings and review who is able to view images of their children.
I'm highly suspicious of this tree.
We should all know the largest economies in the world and the biggest misconception about two ways to read them. Now, the most widely accepted metric for the size of a country's economy is by measuring its GDP, or its gross domestic product, its overall economic output. Now, there are two ways to read it: the nominal GDP in actual dollar values, and PPP, as I like to call it. Now, regular nominal GDP reading is just the currency converted to dollar amount of total economic output, but that can be subject to rampant inflation like we are seeing today. The other measure, or PPP, or the words that my late father would shout to his prostate sometimes, or purchasing power parity, it adjusts for income and output at local price levels. And it's mentioned by some economists that it better reflects looking at the living standards of the country. If you look at the top economies of the world over both metrics, you can see that PPP, or actually puts China at the #1 spot. It also boosts Russia heavily up, and it can take down other larger economies. Look at Germany's economy or Japan's economy. They drop down once you are no longer considering nominal GDP. But the problem with the PPP, or metric, is that all it's doing is measuring the total population plus cheap prices. The best way to read the purchasing power parity metric is by a per capita basis. So you have to take the entire GDP and then divide it by the population. And when you show that chart, it's going to give you a vastly different result. And remember, these PPP dollars have much more weight than your nominal GDP dollars. So the more of these PPP dollars you have, the better off you are. Because these PPP dollars are merely statistical units showing your ability to afford your overall quality of life and market basket of goods in your local area. So in one part of the world, your nominal GDP may be $20,000, but your PPP dollars may be 90,000. When you look at this chart, which accounts for the per capita basis, you could see the US still isn't #1, but they're pretty close #2 to Switzerland, which has the top spot. Now remember, China, according to PPP, is #1. India is #3. Russia is the #4 economy. But when you adjust to per capita, that is not the case. They are dragged way down. Russia is ranked 14th, China is ranked 16th, and India is at the bottom in 20th place with a very low PPP per capita, or per capita. So when anyone tells you, oh, that the BRICS nations are really on the rise and they're going to overtake the world economy, just show them this post. And thanks for watching.
Thanks to you too, brother, for that explanation. Lots of love. Myself, let me just agree, I learned that for the first time, and I'm excited to know that at least there is something new in my brain today, which is good vibes. From this point, my friend, the coming videos, I'll also be watching them for the first time together with you, but I'm sure they are creepy and full of good vibes. But maybe even equal as creepy as that tree we just saw good vibes brother showing us. The palm tree with the satellites, or those Wi-Fi things on top. Aye, that does not look like a real natural tree, my friends. It's very creepy. Lots of creepy stuff coming up us. Let's hear what our sister has to say.
What if I told you the biggest lie you ever believed about yourself is your identity? Would you believe me? Let me cook. If you're a deep thinker, you're really going to love this. Your identity is an entity, and that entity has a personality. Now, what do I mean when I say this? When you were born as awareness. You were born as consciousness. You weren't born with an identity. One was actually given to you. Your parents told you who you're supposed to be. Society told you who you're supposed to be. Religion told you who you're supposed to be. Your traumas even tried to dictate and tell you this is who you are now because of that experience. Now, with all of these experiences, you did one thing. You made agreements. And those agreements are actually what builds and keeps the entity that you call me, I am, alive. What we call generational curses are actually agreements made by our forefathers that were passed down to us. I'll give you an example. If you watched your mother struggle to acquire the things that she has in her life, you now have made the agreement, okay, based on the evidence that was presented to you by watching your mother struggle for the things that she has acquired in her life, that guess what? Everything that I want requires struggle. If you were abandoned by your father or your mother, one of your parents stepped out of the home and left the home, you made an agreement that guess what? People always leave. This is why in relationships you're quick to hit the road. You're quick to leave because you want to be the leaver, not the person who gets left, because you made the agreement that people always leave. That is what abandonment does. But I want you to go back to the very beginning of what I said. You were born as awareness. Now, entities are simply psychological constructs that say this is who I am. And they are independent of conscious choice. You don't have to think about smoking because you smoke. You don't have to think about the way that you react when you react to certain conversations or certain experiences. You don't have to think about these things. Because why? The entity has habits, perspectives, preferences, fears, expectations, all those things. Now, I'm challenging you to think about this. If we can observe our habits and we can observe our thoughts and we can observe our behaviors, who's the observer? The observer is the real you. The consciousness that you were born with, the awareness that you were born with is actually the real you. You are not the entity that you have created. The observer and the thing being observed cannot be the same thing. Now, how do you deconstruct this entity? By observing the agreements, finding the origins of these agreements that you made that tell you or inform you that this is who you are. Is it? Or is it who you were told to be? I'm going to give you another example and then I'm going to leave it here. Imagine you're standing in your 4th grade class and you get up there to do a presentation and the whole class begins laughing. In that moment, you made an agreement that I'm not good at public speaking. Now here you are at 38, 25, 19. Never, ever, ever try to do any form of public speaking because in that moment you made an agreement that this is who I am. I'm not good at public speaking. All of the agreements that you have made has created the identity, the entity that you say, this is who I am. You are not the entity. You are so much more than that. Catch you in the next video.
Man. Interesting. That could just be the deepest conversation I had today. Wow, I enjoyed it. What do you think about yourself? Man, that makes me even think more. Having grown up in a household where people have been struggling to get things, man, maybe I need to change my perspective to get things easier. Or what could that video really be telling us? Leave your comments on that, my friend, and you should always know you are a wonderful, unique, and special being, made in the image and likeness of the Creator. You can do more, my friend. You are wonderful. Let's see this next video, my friend.
Have you ever wanted to know how master keys are made by a locksmith? Well, you came to the right place. Now, most locks come with a single key like this, and it's got a number on it, 366033. So if I take the lock apart, I can show you what that number means. It corresponds with these pins.
Oh,
It's got pins in that match 366 033. So we're going to dump it and throw this key right in the garbage and make our own keys. I'm going to keep this demonstration extremely simple by making two keys. Call this a master key and call a second key number 1. And I'm going to cut the keys 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And number 1 key, I'm going to cut 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So here goes key cut 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Here is key cut to 6, 6, 6, 6, and 6. Now I'm going to pin the master key to all 2s. So I've got 5 195s. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this is what that looks like. An all 2 cut key pinned to all 2s. But look what happens when I put in the number 1 key that's cut to all 6s. It's no longer smooth. And the lock cylinder has spring-loaded driver pins that fall into these little chambers. And that's why locks don't work. So what do? Now I need to do a tiny bit of math. We've put a bottom pin in, but we're going to need a top pin. So I've put in the bottom pins as 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So what I need to know is the difference. The difference between 2 and 6 is a 4. So my top pin, that gap, is 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4. So those are going to be our top pins. I'm going to put in our number 1 key, which is all 6s. And see, we've got the empty chambers. And I'm going to fill them with our difference pin, or our master pin, with number 4 master pins. It fills up that difference. Come on. So now we've got a smooth cylinder. I know, I should play Michael Jackson. So now with all the pins loaded, I'm going to lock up the cylinder. Here's key, master key. And then here is the new key number 1. 2 different keys, working 1 lock cylinder.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. What? That's
This is
interesting.
the Black Knight, and some believe it is a 12,000-year-old alien satellite that has been transmitting for thousands of years. The first reports come from Nikola Tesla in 1899, when he recorded strange signals coming from space that were periodic. Then in 1927, a civil engineer transmitted radio signals from his home in Oslo, and the signals would echo back to him moments later. And then astronaut Gordon Cooper claimed to have spotted a UFO from his spacecraft. So, in 1998, when the first mission to the International Space Station happened, and this picture was taken, some people thought this was the source behind all of those anomalies, rather than it being, pulsars or human error. Astronaut Jerry Ross, who was on that mission, said that it was a thermal blanket that came loose, so a thin polyethylene sheet that covers parts of the spacecraft, and that this is an optical illusion because a blanket isn't going to blow around and move in the wind. It's going to look frozen in time, and in this case, looking solid-ish. There's a bunch of strange-looking space junk floating around that if we don't clean up, it could be like an open shooting range keeping us from leaving Earth. So, it's not alien or a satellite, and it's actually not even there anymore. It fell out of orbit, as many things do, and burned up in the atmosphere. Just take a moment to appreciate how NASA innocently released this photo to be like, look at this cool blanket floating around. And everyone else is like, aliens.
Oh, okay.
You are red flag. That means The ghost can see that you're different from the normal person. Ghost hunting. From a Kundalini perspective, I'm going to suggest that you not do that. As a Kundalini person, you are red flagged, and they can follow you. They can follow you from house to house to house to house, from relationship to relationship. And I'm guessing that you may not need that kind of interference in your private personal life. I will suggest strongly that you do not engage in ghost hunting or trying to scientifically measure the presence of a discarnate being. Believe me, if you have the Kundalini, you'll have plenty of opportunities to see that all by yourself.
Okay, well, my friend, when it's spiritual matters, that's what I leave it to the masters. Spiritual matters, I leave it to the masters to talk about them, because I wouldn't want to say anything that could mislead anyone spiritually, because that could be an offense that I don't know if I could be forgiven for. But anyway, child of God, thanks very much for your time today. It's been an interesting time being with you today, and we have seen good stuff together. From some reason as to why you should not be posting your children on social media, which, my friend, I also find it very strange. Why post your progress on social media? I don't know, but if it's a thing you do, well, maybe you could change your mind, or maybe research what brother was saying there before you take a step. Interesting stuff we have seen together, my friend. Even to other alien videos that myself, I think up to this point now, I think the aliens are fake. Unless I see one myself, I touch it, I speak with it. That could be the only way I could. The things we see here sometimes, they are really strange, and it's hard to know whether they are true or not. And as we try to decipher more and more of this stuff, my friend, I'd like you to always be with us. So if it's your first time and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, the notification button, and you'll always be updated when some good vibes video comes up, like the one that will be suggested here at the end. My friend, these videos have different informations, but what's crazy is that all of them are interesting in their own ways and unique, just like we Earthlings are. Till next time, my friend, God bless you, have some lovely time, and peace be with you from where you are. Bye bye, peace to the world, my friend, good vibes.